everybody, CreamCrazy here. Welcome to my WWE Tables, Ladders and Chairs 2012 results and opinions video. Now, a lot of you may be saying to me, Fred, this, as of this moment, is 4:55 GMT, nearly an hour after the pay-per-view ended. How the hell is this not up right afterwards? Well, if it wasn't for my dogs barking when I was in the middle of the bloody recording process originally, I wouldn't have had to wait for a little while to get this bloody thing started again, annoyingly enough. Now, people may be wondering right now, was this show worth paying for? Now, I will say one thing, it was definitely worth paying for. It had some good stuff on it. Okay, people say Final Battle was better, but to me, Ring of Honor and WWE both won tonight because they both had good pay-per-views to show. Honestly, they're around about similar-ish ratings by a lot of people. And that's a good thing, I think. If WWE can say, well, we managed to match Ring of Honor, that's a great thing. I mean, they whip TNA a lot of the time, so all's good. Anyway, let's get on with the match results, the first part of this review, because it's one thing a lot of people do want to hear. Rhodes Scholars defeated Rey Mysterio and Cara in a tables match to become the #1 contenders for the WWE Tag Team Championships. Now, somehow weird way to win, Cody Rhodes stopped an impending springboard by Cara and pushed him through the tables on the outside. Now, people were saying to me on the Skype chat that Cara was injured. Now, I didn't see any injury, I just saw him selling a bit from the steel step spot, but if anyone can ratify if he was injured, please put the comment down in the comment section for me, it'll be greatly appreciated. Antonio Cesaro defeated R-Truth to retain the US Championship by backing Truth into the referee in the corner, hitting an uppercut, and then the neutralizer. And I must point out, it is not the big uppercut, because that would have made the crowd go a bit mental, like me. Kofi Kingston defeated Wade Barrett to retain the Intercontinental Championship, rebounding off Barrett's elbow, hitting the Trouble in Paradise. Now, Playlist Maker SG, you may hate this, but sometimes these things just happen anyway. The Shield defeated Team Ryback, Team Hell No and Ryback in a TLC match. Now, I will say this now. I'm very happy that this result came out because I told you it was going to happen. People who may have doubted me or anyone else, you got it wrong. And Ambrose and Reigns powerbombed Bryan through a table and got the pin. Simple. Simple, simple, simple. Well, I say it's simple. No, the match was anything but simple. It was crazy. I'll tell you the rest of it later. Eve defeated the winner of the Battle Royal pre-show match, which I predicted was probably going to be Tamina, but obviously that wasn't the case. It turned out to be a face with no build, and I knew that was going to be a loss because it was Naomi in a very quick match, Eve winning after hitting the neckbreaker and on Naomi after she missed a top rope leg drop. Simple. Big Show defeated Sheamus in a chairs match to retain the World Heavyweight Championship. Now, Big Show whacked a giant chair onto Sheamus's back. Now, let me just repeat that. He hit a giant chair onto Sheamus's back. Now, people will say to me, Fred, you're hyperbolizing this. No, I'm not. He actually did hit a massive giant chair on his back. Go look it up online if you haven't seen it. It is there, it is huge, in all of its steely, cherry glory. Seriously, folks. That's so nice. Where are we? Anyway, The Miz and Alberto Del Rio, a recently face-turned Alberto Del Rio by the looks of it, and their guest tag partner, the Brooklyn Brawler, defeated 3MB in a 6-man tag match that was arranged earlier in the evening. Brooklyn Brawler locked in a Boston crowd with Jinder Mahal to get the tap-out and the victory for obvious cheap pops, because getting the Brooklyn Brawler, the most famous jobber of all time, to win against a team that everybody hates, that works. And finally, what many thought was the main event, and it did turn out to be, John Cena. We all thought he was going to win against Dolph Ziggler. Hell, even I had a feeling. The guys in the Skype chat had a feeling. And it looked like it was going to be the worst in the world. Right here in Brooklyn. But it wasn't. Because Dolph Ziggler managed to beat John Cena in the Money in the Bank ladder match. Technically, he could have pinned him, but it wouldn't have made any difference. Now, there were 3 methods I thought this could work out. The Shield coming in? That didn't happen. Dolph cashing in earlier? Didn't happen. We could have seen AJ and Vicky taking Cena out of the way, allowing for Ziggler to do it. Again, that didn't happen entirely. You see, AJ came out after Vicky did, beat the crap out of her. Cena then was helped with the ladder, and then AJ turned heel and pushed Cena off. Super kick by Ziggler. Ziggler climbs and wins the damn thing. Now, I didn't predict this. I didn't see it coming. The guys on the chat did, but I really didn't think it was going to happen. Oh my god, it did. Made me look like a right fool. And I did come up with this other idea. Ambrose, after the Shield screw Cena out of the match, because his character is sick at times, you'd expect, he would just kiss AJ because it is an injustice that Cena has her. Just saying, that would have been something fun and epic at the same time. Anyway, that didn't happen. We can put it all into my mind and just leave it. Because now, guys, we're going on to the meat of this review. Now, if you've never seen one of my reviews before, I have a newish way of doing this. I've only done it for one pay-per-view so far. There are 5 factors that make up the majority of a match rating if divided by the amount there are, which is 5. Psychology, move variety, crowd reaction, match length and pacing, and my overall enjoyment. All those together, along with some pros and cons which will sway the rating up or down, along with my own discretion, will choose the overall final rating for the match. If you've never seen my video before, hopefully that is not confusing for you. If it is, if you need any way I can simplify it any more than that, please state so in the comments section. Rhodes Scholars versus Mysterio and Sin Cara. Okay, psychology was a 1.5. It was obviously a #1 contendership match. These guys were going all hell-bent for leather to make sure that they won, that added a bit of story to it. However, there was a lack of actual body psychology, bar Sin Cara obviously having his legs shoved into the middle of the steps with the table, which was great. But apart from that, it wasn't sold much either, so you can't really say there's a lot of psychology at work. Move variety, 2.5. There was a lot of cool innovative little table spots, double team moves, random shit going on. It was fun, it was great difference, and to be honest, these two have good chemistry even in this kind of weapons match. Good to see. Crowd reaction, 3.5. They were really into this. Honest to God, they were. To open the pay-per-view, it was great to see the crowd into an opening match, because the last couple of pay-per-views have not seen that very much at all, and that annoys me to hell. The fact is, to show how much the crowd were loving it, they were chanting for Cody's mustache at the beginning and the middle. Brought a smile to my face. Simple. Match length and pacing, 2.5. I thought that this match was, in terms of pacing, well done. It was fast, furious, didn't slow down much, and it proved a point that this is an opener, you need to excite the viewers. That was a good way of doing it. In terms of match length, however, I felt it was a little bit short. Really did feel a little bit shorter than what I expected. Because it's an opener, it doesn't always have to be short. You can make these matches any length you want, and I felt it could have gone on a bit longer. My enjoyment, it was good. I enjoyed the match, it was fun to see tag team tables, and to be honest, I thought there was going to be more than one, but WWE didn't like that. But it was still fun to see this match, but open the pay-per-view like I probably would have predicted. Hell, I predicted Kofi and Barrett start it, but I definitely preferred this. The pros, good teamwork by both teams, showing exactly what tag teaming actually bloody means. Because honestly, tag team matches, to be honest, do not show too much tag work a lot of the time in previous years. Good to see in a tag match, they actually did a lot of tag work. Good stuff. Repeated table usage from the get-go really built this match up, because you knew this was going to end with someone going through a fucking table, because that's the bloody match, but the fact that they kept pushing it in your face that it was close to happening quickly meant it built up the tension well, and I love that. Again, I've already mentioned it, Cody's mustache. Brought a smile to my face and anyone else's. Rhodes Scholars ramming the table into Cara, which was, of course, he was already sandwiched in the steps at that time. Sick spot, loved it. Something unique, and I haven't seen it before. Cool. The cons. Now, there was only one really big, major con, but the ending kind of came out of nowhere, and I have no idea what it signifies. Is Sin Cara injured? I've already mentioned it previously. Again, anyone who can clarify it for me, in the comments section. And that's the only really bad con, because I mentioned the cons for other stuff in the factors, so I won't mention every con in the con section. This is everything I don't see in the factors, okay? So overall, the ending and the pace and the match length, along with psychology elements, bring this down a bit from the original 3 that I had it, and I thought, give it 2.5 stars for what it's worth. It was a good match, I'll give it what it's worth. Might be a bit lenient, but that's me, folks. I do heavily look through things. I'm doing what I can to make these as fair as I can. Cesaro versus Truth. Now, I will tell you now, this match was not too bad at Survivor Series. very similar here. Psychology won. The storyline again wasn't too well built, and in all fairness, there wasn't too much in terms of story and body working told in this. I wasn't too impressed by it at all. Didn't really do much for me. Move variety, again, another one, because, all fairness, folks, these moves were very similar to what I've seen before from them, and it wasn't nice to see that repetition. It really wasn't, I tell you that. Crowd reaction, 1.5. They were into Truth, they were into his offense, they were not into Cesaro. That's obviously expected. Match length and pacing, it was fast-ish, but it was, again, too short for me. I really didn't like that at all. My enjoyment. Now, this match was okay. I don't know. It was alright. I liked little bits, but not much at all. It really didn't light my soul on fire, and that wasn't a good thing after the opener effectively did that right out of the bat. Pros, there was good change of momentum and offense by both men. I found that was very, very good. Made the match slightly exciting, knowing that both men can get something from each other there. The funnest part of the match was Truth being rammed into every single turnbuckle, and he nearly hulks up, recovering from it, each time. It was hilarious, fun to see, and a little different. Cons. There was no big uppercut. Now that move obviously would mean, if it was included, this would be a complete rehash from the last pay-per-view. Obviously, removing it meant it looked a little bit more desperate, but I liked that uppercut to the point where I would mark out every time I see it. In fact, that's what happens. This was another ending out of nowhere. Cesaro's offense was, however, just enough to substantiate that. The fact is, though, the ending did make this match seem rushed, and I didn't like that in one bit. It just did not feel good. It just felt kind of like how R-Truth had a lot of offense last time. It just did not feel natural. And that's not a good thing for me. If a match has to finish naturally, it should do. So don't just keep throwing crap on it. Really. Overall, I feel this was worse than the match at Survivor Series. The last one was a 1-star match. I would go down a little bit lower and give this a 3/4 of a star. I'm being very nice here. I really am being very nice, because this is roughly the exact same ratings that the last one got in terms of pros and cons and factor ratings. It was effectively the exact same, so don't need to worry about it. Kingston VS Barrett, of course, the match that pisses off Pacemaker SG the most. No shit. Psychology 1.5. Barrett worked the back, which was great. I loved seeing that. Story-wise, obviously these two we knew had a bit of a story, but it really doesn't come out very much in terms of intensity. But then again, working the back did help. However, Kofi did not sell it a lot. Okay, on the floor, he did sell it. Rolling around in a bit of agony, holding his back a lot when trying to get up. But once he started moving, doing the boom drop and everything, it just did not work. He did not sell the back enough. And Barrett, actually, to be honest with you, after that, did not work it a single bit more. So that drops the psychology rating right down. Move variety, 1.5. It's very basic, simple stuff that these guys have done before in the matches. There was nothing different, really. I don't know why I gave it a 0.5 extra. I could have given this a 1, but there was a couple of great Barrett moves and the scoop slams, pump handles, and suplexes that really kind of made me sit up and go, okay, this is a little bit faster and different from him. I can keep it a little bit higher than the bottom end. Crowd reaction, 2.5. They were kind of into this match. They were kind of into Kofi's offense, and they were into Barrett a little, but not too much. Oh, as the match progressed and the near falls kicked in, they were more perked up for it, but unfortunately it wasn't too much more than that. It was still substantial enough, though, to give it a decent ranking. Match length and pacing, 1.5. I felt that the match was, again, felt quite short, it felt quite rushed, but then again, it did slow down at times to allow the match to build itself up a little bit, and effectively mean it meant something. So, yeah, that worked out fine. My enjoyment was a 2. I felt that it was okay. I expected a lot more, and I got less than I expected, so I'd give it a 2. It was okay. That's all I'll say. Kofi's biggest positive, he jumped over... my brain's going here. Kofi jumped right over Barrett, through the ropes, and then hit a suicide dive. I thought that was a fantastic little move. Haven't seen it before. Again, that proves why the move variety was a 1.5. There were many near falls and momentum shifts, proving to make the match very, very exciting in near the end place, because it made you think, okay, Barrett's been throwing a lot of things at Kofi. Has he got the chance? Or does Kofi even have a chance of surviving here? It looked good. The cons, and there are actually only 2 of them here, but they are pretty massive. Barrett losing makes him look weak, because he obviously said before the match he was going to beat the crap out of Kofi. Didn't happen. Okay, he did, but he didn't win. And many people in the Skype chat were saying, oh, that's awful, what the fuck, why did Barrett lose? Fact is, Sheamus, even though he won at TLC last year, was going nowhere, much like Barrett is, and he won the Rumble. See, Barrett is still a favourite for it in my eyes. It should be quite interesting. And the other one, and this one's quite an important one, folks, because in the build-up to this show, didn't Barrett work on Kofi's eye a lot? Didn't he injure it, apparently, with the elbow? And to be honest with you, why the fuck did he not do this here? Why didn't he work on the head? Okay, working on the back adds another extra dimension that you could work with, but he didn't work on the head one iota. And I thought, that's a fucking stupid way for psychology to get lost. Because we, especially me, saw in the build-up that he worked on the eye, that this was a major weakness for the elbow, and it would mean that there was going to be a problem in the match. Where was it? Where was it magically healed? No, it just did not work in the slightest, and it was absolutely stupid to get rid of it. Overall, this was not as good as I expected it to be, but it was still pretty decent for what it was. I'll be kind, I'll give it 1 3/4 stars, because I can. The Shield versus Ryback and Team Hell No. This one has been getting praise from all across the board, and I will now probably echo that for the most part. Psychology, a 4. Now, you may be telling me there wasn't enough body psychology. Okay, there wasn't enough, and that was a major con. However, the story told itself fantastically. All 6 guys hated their opposition. They wanted to decimate them and get back at them for things they had done to them. Ryback for being screwed by the Shield, and the Shield for basically being hounded by them for weeks on end. It was obviously an intense physical match that built up through all of that. And I felt, in a way, the story told itself superbly, and it worked out a treat. That's why it's a 4. Move variety, 4.5. Just look at the spots. Please. I've got a list of them for the pros. That is the reason why this move variety is so high. It was ridiculous. Honestly, I will tell you in a minute, it is great. Crowd reaction, 5. They were eating this up out of the palm of WWE's sweaty hands. They were loving it. They were loving it, my friends. And to be honest, so were we all. Match length and pacing, 5. Simply because this match lasted ages. And it was fast, furious, it didn't slow down one bit. And to be honest, in a TLC match, you bloody expect that. So, it gave us all we asked for, and we got to be happy with that. My enjoyment. Let me see. How can I sum this up in a 5? Yeah, I enjoyed it so much, I gave it a 5 in terms of enjoyment. By the end of the match, because the result went the right way, I literally jumped up and down, went a bit mental. Okay, I didn't shout at the top of my voice. I knew that would make the dogs bark, which is right, because they did eventually. But you see, I was just jumping around, mouth open, eyes closed, pumping my fists in the air with a high-pitched voice slowly emanating out of it, much like a little girl would make if they found out they had a pony or a bunny or a puppy as a Christmas present. In fact, if you've got a little girl who needs a Christmas present that they can look after and care for, there's a good tip for you right there. Seriously, folks. Seriously, Christmas is getting closer. You may need to start thinking about this stuff. The pros. Now, this is the longest pro I've ever had to bloody write. It's fantastic, because this is all centers around great weapon usage and spots. This, oh my god, honestly, the spots in this match were insane. Ryback double suplexed Ambrose and, I believe, Rollins on the ladder. Ambrose sold it, oversold it like a boss, but it was fun as hell to watch. Double suplex off a table on the top turnbuckle by Rollins and Ambrose. Kane clotheslined Ambrose off springboarding off the same table, which was cool. Kane chokeslammed Ambrose through the chair. Reigns speared Kane through the barricade. They powerbombed Ryback through the announce table. Rollins got pulled off a ladder through the tables at the entranceway. And Bryan was powerbombed through the table to end it. In overall sense, there was so many unique, weird, and random stuff with weapons going on. The match was insane. I mean, honestly, every time there was one spot, there was another, and you just wanted to keep paying attention. The fans ate it up, and honestly, if you didn't eat this up, I don't know what kind of person you are, because this was awesome. The match never got boring. Seriously, folks, because of its fast pacing, the match never slowed down. It was all about... It was just about perfect in regards to it. It was boring to... If it was boring to watch, it would be shit. But honestly, it was fun as fuck to watch, and I loved it. The right winners. Now, this is the biggest pro of them all, because the Shield won, and my god, if they hadn't wrestled a single match, and they went and won in this, what a way to show themselves to the fans who doubted them at first. What a way to prove that these guys have a future, and even though they got beaten a bit, they still ended up proving they're worth something. Brilliant. Now, I've praised this match a lot. How the fuck can I find some negatives? Well, you've already heard one of them. There was not enough body psychology. Now, because this was more of a brawl than anything, I wanted to see more actual body psychology, and the fact is, even though these guys were being hit through tables, with ladders, with chairs repeatedly, the faces stayed down and did their part a lot, which Kane did because he was buried under the bloody barricade stuff. The fact is, the heels kept getting up, and that annoyed me because they were continuously being battered as well. So, not too much body psychology to really make me write home about it. Apart from Rollins' fall from grace, there were not enough high-risk ladder spots. Now, okay, there was a lot of table spots, there was a lot of chair shots, but there was only one major ladder spot, proper ladder spot. And you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous how the ladder gets pressed onto people, smacked, and has Rollins sandwiched in between it, and have a chair smacked on it, and then pushed off it. But apart from that, I really wanted more. I wanted Rollins to jump off the thing. I wanted Roman Reigns to do like a tackle off it. I wanted to see Ambrose just go mental off the bloody thing. Hell, even Daniel Bryan hit the headbutt. But again, that didn't happen. I mean, we got the table swap with Kane, that was enough. There was no brawling in the crowd or the back. This needed that, because these guys, the Shield, are a tribal group. They will hunt you down and attack you anywhere. They did it to Randy Orton this past week. They will do anything. So, it needed it. I felt it needed brawling in the crowd to show the intensity, and the crowd would have gone even more mental. So, those 3 cons there, people. Take this match away from a 5-star, which many people are giving it, and I agree with the British Fist that this was a great, great, great ladder match. But I will not agree with you in the fact of saying it's not the best. It's not great enough. To be honest with you, it was good enough. It was fantastic enough, but it wasn't perfect enough. Ladies and gentlemen, for the 3rd time this year, I think, I'm giving a match 4 3/4 stars. This is the match of the year candidate, bar none. And my god, it's got Taker versus Triple H, and CM Punk versus Daniel Bryan with AJ as a special guest ref to basically claw away from it. That is going to be a very difficult match of the year to choose, my friends, because I enjoyed all 3 of them a lot. Next, well, we go from one of the best matches of the year to probably one of the worst. Simply, this was horseshit. Eve versus Naomi. There were no pros, and I gave everything a 0 in terms of rating factors. There was absolutely nothing to this match. So what was this? A very, very quick match that gave me nothing? That means, oh, you know what it is. It's the most disappointing, the most disgruntling, the most annoyingly shit rating in the world. It's a 0. Haha, the 0. Definitely something I thought after last pay-per-view I wouldn't have to give out again for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, here we are. A 0 here on the last show of the year. God damn it, WWE, I thought you were better than this. Big Show versus Sheamus. Now, for psychology, 2.5. The story, obviously, Big Show running away from Sheamus with the chair. Sheamus showing fear in the eyes of Big Show with chairs. Pretty good story building. Showing the bruises, selling the arms and body a bit. Not too bad. Decent psychology there. Not too bad at all. Move variety, 1.5. A lot of the moves that we'd seen here, I had seen before previously. The spear, off the... Sheamus jumping off the top rope and getting speared. The Vader splash, the lot, the WMD off other moves, off the bro kick, the lot. It was just seemed very familiar to the ones held before, and that was not a good thing. Really wasn't a good thing. and that just didn't prove out well for me. There was, of course, the Vader, because the Vader press did have a chair on it. The giant chair did come in. One of the big things, there are a few other things I'm going to mention in the pros, but it was definitely not as good as I would imagined. Crowd reaction, 1.5. Quite simply because this match, again, in terms of match length and pacing, which is also 1.5, was quite slow, the crowd weren't into it either. And to be honest, to find out that Ray and a few other people were bored from this match kind of shows that slow pacing is not always the best thing to go. Honestly, it may work for some matches, but not this one. My enjoyment was a 1. I really, by the end of it, just felt really annoyed by it. I really didn't like this match at all. There are a few good moments, but that was it. I didn't really get into this match at all. And it shows. I haven't been liking this feud much from the get-go. Other people have, and they've been praising these guys for good matches. I just haven't seen it, really. Pros. Show kicked the chair into Sheamus' face early on, which was nice, and he wasn't even looking, which made it even more impressive. The white noise through the chairs, quite nice. Big Show Vader splash onto the chair and Sheamus, again, another move I've already mentioned, pretty awesome. The giant chair that won the match, much like the giant ladder at Money in the Bank. Creative as hell, and it was fun. I've stated all the cons in the sum up for the factors, so I'm going to give this the rating that the factors ended up giving it, really, because those positives are mostly what I could have said in those factors anyway. So I'll give it 1.5 stars. It was okay. Average, very mediocre-ish, and I wouldn't go too far with saying it could have been a lot worse. Honestly, it could have been. Miz, Del Rio, and Brooklyn Brawler versus 3MB. Now, I will say this is not as shit as the Divas match. Psychology was still a 0, move variety was still a 0, because not much was done. Crowd reaction was a 2, because the Brooklyn Brawler gave them something, and the crowd were a little bit impressed with Del Rio and Miz. They were liking that. Match length and pacing, 1. I would have given it a 0, but I thought it lasted a little longer than I thought. I thought it was going to be a right-out squash. It wasn't, therefore it gets a 1. Pacing, quick and fast, again, that adds to it almost. It rounds out the 1. My enjoyment, 0. Quite simply, I did not enjoy this match at all because it was filler. There were no real positives apart from the Brooklyn Brawler making a surprise appearance, which was a good enough thing. But overall, this was just a match to get the Brooklyn Brawler over, nothing more. Therefore, it is a 0. Hands down, it's not as bad as the Divas match, but it was still a 0 anyway. And now on to the final match. Quite simply, Ziggler versus Cena. Psychology, 2.5. They were really showing it here. Ziggler working on the head of Cena a lot. Cena had a busted eye. It was good to see that he was working on the head with sleeper holds, going for kicks, trying to go for all he could. And it was a very good story being told. These guys hated each other to the point they were willing to do just about anything. Okay, they didn't go too far, but they at least showed they were willing to fight for what mattered, that bloody Money in the Bank. Move variety, 2.5, a 2. There were some unique little things in here. The sleeper hold, falling off as a ladder, and that was nice. There was a few other great things. I mean, there was a monkey flip by Cena, which I have not seen much of before, and there was another move, which I will mention in the pros, which was fantastic, and, well, flying super kick at the end by Ziggler. It was nice to see him just do one out of the blue, like he almost missed the chance. I wouldn't say it's a botch, but it was fun. Crowd reaction, 5. Okay, it may have dipped at certain times, but it was still they were into this. They wanted Ziggler to win. They wanted him to prove everybody that he could do it. He could fight with a big gun, and it went well. Match length and pacing, 2.5. I felt that this match had decent length. It was very good in terms of length. I thought that was perfectly reasonable. It lasted a while. In fact, it lasted nearly about 30 minutes, I think, and it did what it had to. In terms of pacing, though, it was a bit slow, but it was a bit fast too. So it was a kind of balance between the both. You can't go wrong with that. Wasn't too bad. It was an in-between point. My enjoyment, a 3. I found the match quite entertaining. I enjoyed it for what it was worth, and I felt, okay, this may not be the best thing I'm going to see Ziggler do this year, but he's proving himself, and I'm liking it. It's good. The pros. It started off quite technical and quite intense, like a normal match, but then went straight to weapons after a little while. It was nice progression, that they were thinking, oh, screw this technical bullcrap, I want to get you beaten. Nice. The sleeper hold to table spot was nice. It built tension that, my god, Cena is really having a hard time here. Ziggler is proving to be overpowering. It was nice. Cena then pulled Ziggler up the Xena. This is not the Warrior Princess, people. This is John Cena. Although many people might say that is true. Cena the Warrior Princess. My god. I bet someone could make a bloody meme out of it. In fact, why don't you make a meme out of it? Anyway, John Cena pulled up the Ziggler. Now, that may seem very basic. The fact is, he pulled up Ziggler while he was on the ladder. Yeah, he pulled Ziggler up whilst he was hanging on to the ladder. Amazingly, though, I mean, thank God, Ziggler got out of it right before he was about to be flattened and put on the outside. So, at least that happened. And here is the move I was mentioning earlier that got my attention. Hurricane Rana by Cena. Now, people may say it looked sloppy, but I will say this. Cena doing a move like that? Come on. You got to give him a clap for at least doing it. I mean, the fact that you saw Cena do a high flyers move? I mean, come on. I bet even his haters applauded that. I mean, hell, it proves why I actually respect Cena, because he's willing to do just about anything to put on a show, and that's one of them. The final positive, AJ's heel turn. Quite simply because I didn't see it coming. I mentioned that earlier. It was definitely worth its weight in gold. Because I cannot wait to see what happens on Raw for this. I really can't. The only real con, well, I've already mentioned it. There was no Shield, but obviously they were too battered to do anything. The match overall didn't have much a bad thing to say about it, really. But overall, I would say I'm plentifully satisfied with this match. It was not incredibly great, but it was great anyway. It was okay. It was good. It was good. I'll say that. I'll give it a 3 stars. It was a good main event. A very solid main event that had the right guy winning in controversial circumstances, got people talking, and we get to see Ziggler hold on to that briefcase for a possible Rumble or maybe Elimination Chamber or WrestleMania cash-in. We get what we want in the end. Ziggler looked dominant over Cena. It's all good. Right. Now for my final thoughts. I said in the predictions on Saturday night or morning, or whenever the hell you got that video, that TLC is often a pay-per-view you don't want to miss, as it gives a crescendo to end the year on. Now, for the 4th year running, this pay-per-view has done just that. To have 2 3-star plus matches on a year-end pay-per-view is fantastic to see. Hell, to even see average matches for most of the card was great too, because you want to see a card with some great ones and some good ones, or meh ones even. Okay, there were 2 zeros to take this card down a ton, but it was still an exciting show to watch. There were spots and more spots, heel and face turns left and right that we didn't expect, a hot crowd, and to top it all off, a record tally because heels won 6 out of the 8 matches on the card. I mean, that's brilliant. To see heels do well at a pay-per-view makes me smile, because that proves they are learning that they need to give pay-per-views and heels something to work with. They need the heels to win something. Good to know they've done it. This wasn't the greatest pay-per-view all round, because there was obviously some duds, but I will say this, it was showed that WWE, if they get the ball rolling, can get a show right. And they did. They got this show right. It worked in so many ways. Okay, the right people didn't win in some of the matches, but they made it look like they were deserved anyway, so that worked out. And I didn't lose my attention much at all tonight. And the big matches that sold the show ended up stealing it. What more could I ask for? A show where its main matches give you what you want. What more do I need to tell you guys about? That is what a pay-per-view is about. But then again, the other matches didn't really give us too much, so we can kind of take it down a bit. While the worst matches do take the shine off the better ones, this does deserve an above-average mark for a pay-per-view. So I give TLC 2012, the final pay-per-view of the year, a 6 3/4 out of 10. But if only the mediocre matches were better, this would have been a 7+ easily, folks. This would have been up there with the Money in the Banks, the WrestleManias, the Extreme Rules, the SummerSlam. This would have been up there with that. And I would have been fine with it, because again, this pay-per-view proves to be the shit every year. Can't go wrong with it at all. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men and women everywhere, that is the end of my review. I hope you have enjoyed this nearly 35-minute romp. Then again, you can see how long it does actually take me to get through the meat of this review. What did you think of it? What did you think of the pay-per-view? Put a video response, or you can comment right down there, because that's the easiest way to get through to it. Also, if you like my review and you want to see more, including the Wrestling Rant Awards nominations announcement and that video itself, along with the December Q&A, all you need to do, folks, is click the subscribe button down there above the description box. Because I love you guys for clicking that subscribe button. You are awesome people for watching my vids and enjoying them enough to subscribe. So thank you all for watching this and paying attention all the way through. Because if you managed to watch all the way through, you are a legend. Also, guys, again, the rest of it, like me on Facebook, add me at CreamCrazyWR on Skype, ask me for a DeviantArt wrestling banner, again, I keep asking, and also favourite my blog. In fact, if you missed any of that, it'll be in the description and the credit sequence, if you missed anything.